Welcome to This Is Getting Old, Moving Towards an Age-Friendly World. I'm your host, Melissa Batchelor, and on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about 6 things to do after you're diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, I want you to know that you're not alone. There is help available, and there are resources to connect you to people who understand what you've been through and what you're going to go through. I mean, just to get to the diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, you and your family have already likely been on a very difficult road of doctor's appointments, testing, and this roller coaster of emotions that come with that journey. Alzheimer's disease is now a part of your life and those who love you, but life is not over. There's also no way to predict how quickly or slowly you're going to progress along this disease trajectory. You may have upwards of 20 years left to live. But where do you begin after you've just been diagnosed? So today I want to share 6 tips to help guide you as you begin the next phase of your journey. The work that you and your loved ones need to do now is about learning more about this disease and how to manage the changes that are ahead. Number 1, educate yourself and others about this disease. So I think the number 1 fear that people have about sharing their diagnosis with others is about being stigmatized. And this is a primary concern of people that they're going to be thought of negatively, or that a negative label is going to be put on them. I mean, that's what stigma is. It's a negative label that's used to identify a person with an illness or a disability. So stigma around Alzheimer's disease typically happens because people don't understand it or they don't know what to expect. So learn as much as you can about this disease and encourage your care partners to do the same. And you can start by learning the facts of the disease from the Alzheimer's Association website. And I've included a link on my website, melissabphd.com, so that you can connect directly to that. Number 2, coming to terms with your diagnosis and sharing the diagnosis with other people. So it may take a while for you to come to terms with your diagnosis before you tell other people. Everybody's different, and so everyone's going to have a different timeline for when they want to tell other people. You may want to wait until you've had time to come to terms with it, or you may be totally comfortable going ahead and sharing with your family, friends, and coworkers. But either way, as the disease progresses, you're going to need help and support along the way from others who know and understand you. You can decide who to tell and when to tell them, but this is also a good time to educate them, but also understand that they may be uncomfortable or they may be fearful simply because they don't know what to do either. And so giving them permission to just continue to interact with you the same way is going to be very important. Number 3, be an active participant in your financial, legal, and your long-term care planning. This is likely going to be the single best gift that you can give your family and those that love you. If you don't provide information about your wishes and your making sure that your legal documents are accessible, the burden of making those decisions is going to fall on them. So I recommend getting a copy of Cameron Huddleston's book, Mom and Dad, We Need to Talk, and filling out the In Case of Emergency organizer that's available on her website, and that is free. Both of these are linked in the description below on my YouTube channel, but you can also find them on my website in the blog that goes with this podcast. Number 4, reevaluate your priorities. So this is a time now to begin to set goals for the things that you still want to accomplish. Your life is not over yet, so you need to dust off that bucket list and start making plans to do as much as you can while you're still able to. This is the same thing that many people do after receiving any terminal diagnosis. You know yourself best and you know what's most important to you, and those are the things that you need to be doing in the time that you have left, which I will say again, could be as long as 20 years. So while you're still able, make sure that you make these decisions about how you want the rest of your life to look and share that vision with those who love you. Number 5, take an active role in managing your disease and building your care team. So now is the time to begin to build your care team. This includes you, your family, your friends, your neighbors, and healthcare professionals with expertise in Alzheimer's care. This is also a good time to learn more about dementia-friendly communities. So these are communities that provide supportive options that foster quality of life for people living with Alzheimer's disease and their families. So if you don't have one yet in your area, this is also a time to think about maybe looking into starting one. So I've included a link to that for more information in the blog that goes with this podcast and the description below. A third thing to look into is to find out if there's a village in your area. There's a national village-to-village movement. You can join it and start volunteering. The village model is neighbors caring for neighbors, and every community does it differently. It's a nonprofit, grassroots, community-based organization of volunteers that reflect the needs of its members and communities. I live in Fairfax City, and just started one about a year ago. And all over Fairfax County, there are multiple villages, and all of them look different. So look into that, and those are great community support systems for you to tap into. And finally, number 6, discuss alternative treatments, supplements, and medications with your healthcare team. So although the current medications cannot cure Alzheimer's disease, some of the medications can help lessen the symptoms, such as memory loss and confusion, for a limited time. Other medications can change the time for your disease progression, and others can benefit cognition and your overall functional ability, which is your ability to take care of yourself, which is the number one thing most people want to maintain for as long as possible. Another thing you could do is look into FDA-approved drugs, alternative treatments, and supplements, and consider participating in clinical trials that also are listed on the Alzheimer's Association website. I hope you found these 6 tips helpful in helping you get started, but it's not meant to be an exhaustive list. If you have other tips that would be helpful, please share them in the comment section below. If you're watching on YouTube, or leave a comment in the podcast platform that you're listening from. You can also find more resources on the Alzheimer's Association website to answer any other questions you may have about what to expect and/or what else you can do. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to This Is Getting Old, Moving Towards an Age-Friendly World. I'm your host, Melissa Batchelor, and if you'd like to learn more, you can check out my other episodes on my YouTube channel by subscribing and ringing the bell to get immediate notifications when new content comes out. In addition, you can also find the audio version of the podcast on Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, and Stitcher. Please feel free to leave an honest review, because more reviews mean more awareness of the podcast and helps us move towards an age-friendly world. If you have a comment or a question, you can visit my website, melissabphd.com. Go to the Contact Melissa tab, and you can leave me a voice message. You never know, I might just include your question or your comment in an upcoming episode.